In the day-to-day living of the IDPs, basic needs such as health, shelter and nutrition have become the responsibility of various groups in the Nigerian society, with the National Emergency Management Agency coordinating all activities. These individuals have become the responsibility of both the government and the Nigerian people, and even international organizations. The first step in helping them has been to get them into settlements in safe and livable locations. As of June 2015, there were 8 recognized camps in 6 northeastern states, even though the displaced persons have found solace in many locations in different states.
If 3 persons that are displaced in the northeast find themselves in VI and just build a ramshackle and live there, does it make it a camp? It doesn't. What is going on is that the agencies of government and development partners and CBOs and FBOs are just coming to the aids of these few people. But a camp is a location that is approved by the state as where displaced persons will be located. And then you have formal facilities put in place for them. So if a few persons move to a location and settle there, does it make their settling there a camp? It doesn't. There's a state government in place. The state government has a right to show locations where camps are supposed to be sited. It is only when the state government recognizes those places as a camp, it becomes a camp. In Lagos State, they have a place for displaced persons. So if you go and settle down on a street in Surulere and say it's a camp, it's not a camp.
However, in many cases, as it applies to the internally displaced persons, pressing needs overcome following set-down rules in the case of camps.
Let's leave semantics. Let's look at reality. Sometimes there are government-owned camps, government-recognized camps. There are camps that are not recognized by government. There are camps that people are just helpless and distressed. They just brought themselves together and they're staying there. Those ones are there. There are some that are really, really recognized by government, organized, camp coordinators, guards are there, food are supplied to a large extent. And then there are families that have absorbed displaced persons, also within the same vicinity, meaning that you know that this person is my cousin, is my sister. Then within the home setting, within communities, you have such displaced people. But generally, displaced people are everywhere, in camps, recognized, in camps, not recognized, in host communities, in families, in settings. The one that ran to Abuja are in Karu, they're in Orozo, they're in Mararaba, they're in Nasarawa State. All these are people that are just distressed, that just need help. So those who run from Goza, those who run from the community surrounding Sambisa Forest apparently didn't feel safe anywhere out there, so they ran to Abuja. So in FCT you have so many camps that we need to get the data, in terms of they're in communities. I visited the one in Karo, I visited the one in Orozo, and they just the displaced people have some well-to-do relatives or relations that just put money together to rent some places for them, but you don't want to see what those places looks like. It will break your heart.
Indeed, whether these camps are formal or informal, the pictures showing the welfare condition of the persons staying there have been unpleasant, calling for urgent attention.
there are a lot of trauma. You meet women and they come out to tell you that whatever they had on is all they've had or they have. You see men who were in the farms when they were attacked, and that was all they could do, to run from the farm and come out until they find their way to the camps. You have women and their children, one or two. One had to back the baby and trek for like 60, 70 kilometers to run to safety. Is a whole lot of population that we need to really, really care about. The Borno state government supported creating different camps within Maiduguri, and you have different people from different LGAs in different camps. So you have, if I can say, the Christians are in one camp, Muslims are in one camp, and we still have that kind of dichotomy even in distress situations. And then the living condition being camp-like, you can imagine what it's like. Within that condition, there are still pregnant women, there are still women giving birth to children, there's still babies being born. In that condition, you cannot leave out the issue with abuse. You still have, it's not documented though, you have sexual abuse of young girls. These girls, I've seen a lot from where they're coming from. They don't have food, they don't have enough food, they don't have clothes. So probably when they go out to beg for favors, you can imagine what is happening.
Another disadvantage of these informal camps, however, is the lack of security, especially for the young female.
In some camps, there's a measure of security in terms of living and coming. In some camps, there is no security. There is no, so they're there, they are vulnerable, they're exposed. So it's very easy to be abused. The rest is left for the imagination. There are no records of this, there are no reporting of this, but they are real. You have children some camps are the fathers and children are in one side, then the mothers are in another side, because you can't keep everybody together. So there are families like that the mother is in this camp with the father is in that camp with the boys, the mother is in the camp with the girls. So we have all that. And then you see in camps where you don't have the women, you see the children are not well taken care of. You can see in the camps where you have women taking care of the children, you have some camps that are basically for men and maybe for boys. So you can also see that, marginalization in terms of taking care of those children. Ideally, they are supposed to be taken care of in terms of food, but there's still so much to be done in terms of nutritious food. And what I witnessed is children eating plain rice with oil. There's no stew, there's no meat, and it's served in a communal manner and placed before the children. So if as a child you can't eat fast enough, you probably don't eat much for that day. There are no clothes, there are no shoes for the children. There's generally insufficient household needs for the people in the camp.
While these pictures and stories have touched the heart of many individuals and organizations, and responses have been registered, the agency at the helm of catering for the IDPs call for coordination.
It is the responsibility of NEMA to take on behalf of displaced persons or vulnerable persons all donations, both financial and material, and then use appropriate channels to send them to the displaced persons. It is not actually advisable for every Tom, Dick and Harry to go to camps, take pictures, make donations, address the press. that does not solve the problem. What we are saying is that if resources are supposed to be deployed by individuals, NGOs, faith-based organizations, they should pass through these proper channels. And then if there are changes they want to be made in the camps, those changes can be made constructively through a discussion, and then whatever changes you think you want to make can be properly made. Changes are not made on the pages of newspaper. NEMA has an office in Abuja and also has 13 operational offices nationwide, and NEMA is present in each of the state of emergency states. So anywhere anybody wants to reach NEMA, they can reach. If NEMA is not present in the state, we have a state emergency management agency there. These are channels of reaching the emergency organizations in Nigeria.
Donors have their fears, however. The possibility of misappropriation of funds and aid sent to the individuals is one of such.
With the present system of managing the camps and the relief materials, it's difficult for the relief materials that has been sent not to get to the displaced persons, because most of the stock we have and the stores are maintained in the locations where the displaced persons are. So it's difficult for items that are in store, managed by both the displaced persons, the SEMAs and the NEMA, not to have reached the displaced persons.
The only thing within what we're working is to build a capacity of camp coordinators, because in some camps they're quite organized. You are the women leader, you are the room leader, you are the camp coordinator, you are the camp officials, you are the volunteers, you have all that. To build a capacity to be able to control what are being given by the government. But it's a lot of work, and we cannot say there are no leakages. There are leakages, but you need to prove it. You may not be able to prove it, but there are leakages.
When people hear funds have been earmarked for a particular venture, they think cash has been dropped on the table. There are issues and processes. For instance, you have supply chain issues. From the time when you ask somebody to supply, to the time when it gets to the warehouse, from the point when it gets from the warehouse to the actual user. That time difference or that timeline may be seen as a person who thought just the announcement that funds have been mobilized. That may make him think that the money hasn't gotten there. Unfortunately, what he does not realize is that there's a timeline. So it's only when at the end of the timeline the items don't actually get to the people that you now begin to wonder whether it has gotten there. But so far we have not had incidences of diversion, incidences of misappropriation, no.
Another area of need is in skills acquisition.
What we've been able to do now is we have on our own, with the donations we are getting, bought some few sewing machines, and then some individuals and NGOs have come to teach them about soap making. Yes, so we need help in those areas, and we'll be grateful to have people who are experts in those fields to come, because the children here, with the experience I've had with them, they are very brilliant, very skillful. They want to go to school. They love this country. They want to work. They want to do different things, and they are eager to go back home. Yes, they want to get as much as they can get from us, so that whenever they are ever, getting back home, they can be able to say, yes, this is what we learned, and be able to use it to live there.
So they're eager to go back to their states?
Yes, at least some of them are eager to go back to their states, to go and be useful. Yes, because we encourage them. At the beginning they didn't want to go back, but with all the teachings and everything they get here about love, about forgiveness, about peace, about Nigeria, and about going back to help the society, a lot of them want to go back.
And the children themselves have their ambitions and dream careers.
I plan to be a medical doctor.
I want to be what God wants me to be.
Okay. You don't have anything you really want to be?
I have.
What is it?
Doctor. I want to become a soldier.
Beyond the emergency, though, NEMA says it is also planning on the next phase of action.
We are all aware of the successes that has been recorded by the military in the fight against insurgency. Most of these communities have been liberated. And you can see for yourself that the IDPs themselves are so anxious, so eager to go back to their various communities. Therefore, the humanitarian dashboard is fast changing. Therefore, we are fast moving from the emergency phase to rehabilitation and reconstruction phase. Therefore, we are all putting our effort together to see how best can we put the communities back in order so that these people can move with dignity from the camps to their various respective communities.